We've been taking a look at Trent Horn's response to James Tallarico. We've done two videos already. The first one, giving Catholics credit for having a consistent position on abortion or the pro-life position that they have. In the second video, we looked at where Trent Horn was arguing like a Protestant, and he's going to be doing the same in this video, but he gets a lot more wrong. And I just want to start this off by saying, first off, I'm Steve Perry. This is Biblical Anarchy. And today we're going to be looking at Numbers chapter 5 in the Sotah. I have to assume Trent Horn has not done a lot of research into this because I find him to be a very honest and upfront guy. And his coverage of this is wrong. I would say it's dishonest, but I don't think he's intentionally being dishonest. I just think he's kind of in the echo chamber and hasn't fully researched the topic. We are going to take a full look at the topic, but first, let's listen to what Trent Horn had to say, the relevant part of his video. I'm going to play the full clip, and once again, after that, we're going to break it down.
I haven't stated this enough to say this definitively, but there are interpretations of certain passages from the Torah where some folks will even say that there is some subtle instructions for how to perform an abortion in the ancient world, certain things to drink, things like that.
Except the people saying this are amateurs on TikTok or Cenk Uyghur who misreads Numbers chapter 5.
May this water that brings a curse enter your body so that your abdomen swells or your womb miscarries. It is clear as day. There is no question about it. If you don't believe me, just go read the Bible. It is pro-abortion.
The Bible is not pro-abortion because Numbers 5 never even mentions pregnancy and does not give a recipe for an abortifacient. It's talking about a woman accused of adultery who, at the instruction of a priest, drinks water mixed with dust from the tabernacle floor, which we know does not cause abortions. The text just says the woman will become infertile and unable to have children if she is an adulteress. Critical scholar Dan McClellan says, the fact that the outcome if the woman is innocent is explicitly that she will conceive suggests to me that she wasn't already pregnant.
So there's a full clip. Now we're going to start with what James Tallarico had to say, and he gets something right off the bat. He does a good job. He said he hasn't fully researched this, but apparently he is aware of some of the studies done on this particular passage when he says this.
I haven't stated this enough to say this definitively, but there are interpretations of certain passages from the Torah where some folks will even say that there is some subtle instructions for how to perform an abortion in the ancient world, certain things to drink, things like that.
Now, I think most of the scholars on this see it as some type of like a magical thing, but he's right. There is scholarship that has recently addressed this. If we look here, this is the Sage Journal. This is a peer-reviewed study. These are two professors from the University of Ben Gurion in Israel. The presence of copper ore in the sanctuary, together with the discrepancy between this practice and the Israelite laws and ethics addressing adultery, suggests that the Sotah prescription was borrowed from Kenite metalworking religious context. Furthermore, its incongruence with the Israelite way of life reveals that this prescription was inserted as is in the book of Numbers. Now, of course, they go on to do their full article there where they break down their full hypothesis on this, but that is some of the current scholarship, which makes it really uncomfortable that Trent Horn responded by saying this.
Except the people saying this are amateurs on TikTok or Cenk Uyghur who misreads Numbers chapter 5.
But these two scholars from the University of Ben Gurion are not amateurs on TikTok. And they are definitely advocating the idea that there was iron ore in the floor of the tabernacle mixed in with the dust that would have caused a reaction in the woman that might have led to an abortion. So they did see this as an abortifacient. And these, again, are not TikTok amateurs. Now, not only are they not TikTok amateurs, but here is the Net Bible. I highly recommend this Bible because they give you the translator notes. Now, I want you to look. If the Lord makes your thigh fall away, we're going to click on, whoops, we did it the wrong way. We're going to click on that note once I get it up here to where I can do it. There we go. And the note here, your thigh is a euphemism for the genitals, cause your genital organs to shrink. And now the note for 46, and your abdomen swell. Most commentators, now this is the net, okay? This isn't some crazy left-wing publication. This is a New English translation, a fairly conservative, modern translation of the Bible that gives you full notes from the translators, and hear what they say. Most commentators take the expression to be euphemisms of miscarriage or stillbirth, meaning that there would be no fruit from an illegitimate union. The idea of the abdomen swelling has been interpreted to mean fall away. If this interpretation stands, then the idea is that the woman has become pregnant, and that has aroused the suspicion of her husband for some reason. R.K. Harrison discusses a variety of other explanations for diseases and conditions that might be described by these terms. He translates it with miscarriage, but leaves open what the description might actually be. NRSV translates it, makes your uterus drop and your womb discharge. These are not TikTok amateurs. These are scholars who are referring to other scholars saying that the majority opinion, I have no idea if this is right. I'm just pointing out these are the notes in the Net Bible, a Christian translation, that the majority of scholars see this as a miscarriage or an abortion, a forced miscarriage, right? Now, if you look up behind me here, I got Robert Alter's translation in his footnotes. He doesn't commit one way or the other. Could go either way. But this is not TikTok amateurs. And by the way, pay attention because he says that Cenk Uygur misreads the passage, but watch, the words are on the screen. I'll grant you he's reading a bad translation, but he doesn't misread it. He reads exactly what it says.
Except the people saying this are amateurs on TikTok or Cenk Uygur who misreads Numbers chapter 5.
May this water that brings a curse enter your body so that your abdomen swells or your womb miscarries.
Cenk isn't misreading it at all. He reads exactly what it says. I'm not a fan of the NIV, but it definitely sounds like an abortion in that translation. And I don't know that that's a terrible translation when we look at the NIT note or the NET notes. Now, here's how Trent Horn goes on to read the passage himself to defend his reading.
The Bible is not pro-abortion because Numbers 5 never even mentions pregnancy and does not give a recipe for an abortifacient. It's talking about a woman accused of adultery who, at the instruction of a priest, drinks water mixed with dust from the tabernacle floor, which we know does not cause abortions.
Now, this is entirely unfair by Trent Horn. I mean, virgins don't have babies. Dead people don't come back to life after 3 days. We could dismiss all miracles in the Bible. But if we look at what the passage says here, quote, whatever's going to happen here, let the priest make the woman take the oath of the curse and say to the woman, the Lord make you an execration and an oath among your people. When the Lord makes your uterus drop, your womb discharge. This passage is clearly saying whatever's going to happen here, it's God doing it. It's not the dust from the floor, right? God's choosing whether the woman is innocent or guilty and therefore applying the curse when she's guilty. You can't just dismiss this saying, well, drinking some dust from the floor of the tabernacle doesn't cause miscarriages. I mean, I would agree with you, but then you're going to have to get rid of the virgin birth, the empty tomb, etc. You'd have to throw all the miracles out. If God can't do something miraculous through the dust on the temple floor, then Jesus can't heal somebody's eyesight by spitting in some dust and rubbing it on them. Let's be fair.
The text just says the woman will become infertile and unable to have children if she is an adulteress. Critical scholar Dan McClellan says, the fact that the outcome if the woman is innocent is explicitly that she will conceive suggests to me that she wasn't already pregnant.
Now, here Trent Horn is 100% correct. That is Dan McClellan's position. He's written it, he's said it in videos, and he's one of the most popular Bible scholars around. And this is where I'm talking about the echo chamber, right? I think all Christian apologists are aware that this is Dan McClellan's position. But here's another Bible scholar, Dr. Robert Cargill, who disagrees with him. Let's listen to his explanation of the same passage.
If she has defiled herself and has been unfaithful to her husband, again, watch carefully, the water that brings the curse, the Hebrew word for curse here is arar, shall enter into her and cause bitter pain, and her womb, the Hebrew word is beten, shall discharge, in Hebrew, tsabe, meaning to swell up or to distend. Numbers 5, by the way, is the only place this word appears. And her uterus, in Hebrew yarek, will drop. The Hebrew here is nafal, meaning to fall or to shrink or shrivel. And the woman shall become an execration. The Hebrew here is Allah, or curse, among her people. And then there's verse 28. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, then she shall be immune and be able to conceive children, clearly setting this passage in the context of child conception. So if the woman has cheated on her husband and the child she is carrying is not his, then this dusty floor water potion with the magic words of the curse scraped and stirred into it will cause the woman to react, and her belly will distend and swell, according to the Hebrew, and her womb will fall or drop. But if she's innocent, and by that I mean she's done nothing wrong, and her husband is just a jealous idiot, then nothing should happen to her. No harm, no foul, right? Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's start with some technical things. First, this is absolutely describing an abortion or chemically induced spontaneous miscarriage.
Again, not a TikTok amateur. This is Dr. Robert Cargill saying that this is, in fact, an abortion. Now, here's an interesting clip I want you to look at. Did you hear the Hebrew word nafal? Because earlier I did a video talking about Ash Maze's reading of Exodus 21, where he says that that is not talking about a miscarriage because of the specific language that was used. And then he tells you what language in Hebrew that you should be looking for if it were talking about a miscarriage or a stillbirth.
V'yatzu yiladeha. That means the child came out. Yiladeha means her child, the product of her birthing. Yeled is the language of a baby, of a child. Not a baby per se, but a child. Yiladim, children. It's the same root word. When you talk about abortion, when you talk about miscarriage, you do not use the word the child came out. V'yatzu yiladeha. You would say nafal, the baby fell. Some other terminology like that would be used from a biblical perspective, even from a modern Hebrew perspective.
The Hebrew here is nafal.
Now, I want to be clear here that Ash Maze disagrees with me both on abortion and on abortion in the Bible. So I highly doubt he would concede that Numbers 5 is talking about a forced miscarriage or an abortion. But notice the exact language that he called for, if it were talking about that, is the language that appears in Numbers chapter 5. Now, what are we to make of this? Is the sotah a forced abortion? We don't know. There are different ideas that scholars have put forward. Some think it's an abortion. Others think it isn't, that it's some kind of magical curse. Other scholars think that there was copper ore in the dust of the temple floor that would poison a woman, causing the miscarriage. What's the answer? We don't know. But to just dismiss this as some amateurs on TikTok who think that it's the case, especially when the Net Bible says it's the majority of commentaries on this particular passage that side with the miscarriage or abortion reading, is just wrong. We have to treat the text fairly no matter what. That's what I'm attempting to do in this video. Not to tell you what to think, but to give you what the different scholars have to say and let you draw your own conclusions. How did I do? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel. But whatever you do, don't just sit there. Do something like subscribe, because we got one more part to this series coming up next.